In this Tainted Grail Conquest How to Get Started video, we'll be talking about the new roguelike card game developed and published by Awaken Realms Digital. The game fully releases for PC on May 27th and will be available for all users on Steam. This is a sponsored post. Please note, sponsored posts are only sponsoring coverage. Our opinions of the game are our own and not affected by any business relationships with developers or publishers. What is Tainted Grail Conquest? Tainted Grail Conquest mixes together complex deck building as well as roguelike and RPG elements. You explore a procedurally generated world from a third-person perspective, interact with events and NPCs, and fight enemies with card-based combat featuring 3D battle arenas and animations. This is further bolstered by the 9 different classes Tainted Grail has, each with their own unique cards, passive skills, and ultimate abilities. The game takes place on an island called Avalon, themed after a dark Arthurian world. The island was consumed by a mysterious fog called the Wordness that bends reality and time while deforming everything it touches. The main objective of Tainted Grail is to uncover the truth of what is happening on Avalon, as well as meeting and saving the various NPCs that you find during your attempts to do so. Many of these NPCs can be invited to your village, where they will provide various merchant services that will become permanently available to you for all your runs. Tainted Grail has a really dark atmosphere that is brought to life in no small part by narration, voice acting, and artistic images displayed during the various dialogues. The level of immersion that the developers achieved by combining these elements is simply outstanding, and one of the aspects that I enjoyed most about my time with the game. When you first start Tainted Grail, you'll need to create your character. You can customize your character's gender, skin color, hairstyle, facial hairstyle, and hair color, as well as a tattoo. Each time you start a new run, you'll have the option to modify your character's appearance with the exception of gender, which is locked after character creation. As you progress through the game, you'll also unlock gear that you can use to customize your character's appearance. These include helmets, your armor, and a special type of tattoo. All of these cosmetic upgrades are unlocked through game progression. Tainted Grail has no microtransactions, and everything you unlock is tied to your progress, motivating you to play more and more runs. You'll start your run at your own village. The main goal of the game is to rebuild your village by rescuing NPCs that are lost through the Wordness. During your runs, you can collect resources to unlock permanent village upgrades that will carry over to new runs. There are many doors that leave the village, each of them leading to a different tier area. You'll start on a tier 1 area where you'll need to look for the boss and defeat it. Once you do, the tier 2 area door will open, and so on. You get the idea. As soon as you leave the village, you'll notice that your vision is blurred due to the Wordness. There are 6 Wordness levels, and each of them will affect your vision, fights, and quests in different ways. You'll need to use word candles, which are located on the bottom left part of the screen, to disperse the Wordness and increase the Wordness level. Each word candle you consume will provide you with 3 levels, but the Wordness level bar will fall as you walk across the map, meaning you'll need to be careful and manage this. The main importance of Wordness level is how it affects combat, as you might randomly get bonuses or penalty cards called word cards. These word cards can have a huge positive or negative impact in your fight, so make sure to read them carefully and try to remain with the highest Wordness level as possible. This might remind players a bit of Darkest Dungeon. Combat is divided into turns. Turns will always start with your own actions, and then the enemy actions will follow. Tainted Grail Conquest is a very complex game, and you want to make sure that you understand all the information that is being displayed on the screen. On the lower middle part of the screen, you'll find your cards. Each card displays its energy cost on the top left corner and its type and effects in the middle. Cards also have different colors to quickly differentiate their type. On the bottom right corner of your screen, you'll find your current and max energy. Energy is used to play cards and will be refilled at the start of each turn. Leftover energy will not carry over to the next turn. On the bottom left part of the screen, you can find your current and max ultimate charges. You can mouse over it to learn more about it. On the top left part of the screen, you'll see the current Wordness level as well as your word candles and consumable items. Consumable items don't require energy, so they're a great way to get the upper hand in combat. They are expensive and hard to come by, so it's important to learn when and how to use them. On the top right corner of the screen, you can see your current equipped runes and their effects. On each side of the screen, you'll find your deck stats. Draw is the amount of cards left in your deck. Discard are the cards that you discarded this turn. Grave are the cards that you use this turn, and Exile contains cards that can only be used once. Finally, on the center of the screen, you'll see your own character as well as the enemies. The middle bar displays the character's health. The armor icon indicates the current armor level, which reduces a percentage of incoming damage. The fist indicates the current damage output. Any additional status effect will be displayed next to the fist, and you can mouse over it to learn more information. Enemies also display a symbol on top of their heads. This indicates what they intend to do on the current turn. You can mouse over these icons to learn exactly what they do. If numbers are shown, this indicates that the enemy will attack for the given values. A number followed by an X will mean that the enemy will perform X amount of attacks for the damage displayed. You can also learn a lot about the enemies by mousing over them, as this will display their role. Make sure to always mouse over new enemies so you can get a general idea of what they do. Defeating enemies and winning combats will earn you experience to level up your character to a maximum level of 20. Every level, you'll be able to choose 1 out of 3 cards to add to your deck. Every second level, you'll be able to choose 1 out of 3 passive class skills, and every 10th level, you'll be able to choose 1 out of 3 rune reforges, which improves your ultimate ability. As soon as you meet the blacksmith NPC during your playthrough, you'll be able to find runestones as loot from enemies or buy them from stores. Runestones are the only kind of equipable item, and their effect will depend on the rune type, its rarity, and the slot where you placed it. 3 runes of the same type can be combined into a higher rarity rune of the same type. You start off with 1 weapon slot, 1 armor slot, and 4 consumable slots. The weapon and armor slots can be filled with runes, and the consumable slots will determine the consumables that you can use during combat. You can unlock further slots by completing various quests during your runs. The world is procedurally generated, so each run the layout will change. Navigation can be a bit tricky at times, but you can check the minimap on the top right part of the screen to know exactly where you can or can't go. Milestones are a special type of location that you'll find throughout the map. You can activate them to dissipate the wordness across a large area around them, or dismantle them to acquire word candles or buffs. You'll meet all sorts of NPCs during your runs, and most of them provide you with dialogue options that may impact what they do. Some NPCs also give you quests that might require that you find them on multiple runs to complete them. Some other NPCs or locations act as more scripted events where you can anticipate the outcome they will provide, such as a heal or trade or a special reward. All of these are classic roguelike elements that fit well within the game and motivate you to explore the whole area to make sure you are not missing an important event or reward. Once you finish your run, either by winning or dying, you'll gain experience points based on your score. With enough experience points, you'll be able to level up your save file, unlocking new content such as more cards from your faction pool, cosmetic gear, class passives, and more. It's a clever feature because it limits the amount of things that you can do at the beginning of the game while increasing your options as you put more and more hours in, providing a steady but noticeable progression as you discover more cards and passives that get thrown into the mix. This also provides you with motivation to finish your run with the highest score possible to unlock new things to try out. Tainted Grail features 3 different factions, each with 3 different classes for a total of 9. Each faction has a unique pool of cards that's shared amongst its classes, and each class has a different starting deck, ability card, ultimate ability, and passive bonuses. The ultimate ability can be used once per round, provided that you have enough ultimate charges, and each class has its own way of gaining ultimate charges. Note that you'll have to unlock classes as you work your way through the game. I personally recommend that you start off by using the Children of Morrigan faction until you get used to the game mechanics, and once you're confident enough, move on to the others. I enjoyed the starting class Word Hunter the most, allowing me to play very offensively, dealing massive amounts of damage with the ultimate. There's nothing more enjoyable than to one-shot that annoying creature that you've been avoiding for 10 turns. Tainted Grail is a challenging game, and you'll certainly die a lot during your first runs as you get used to the mechanics. This is a normal part of any roguelike game, and I always felt while playing that I learned something from my deaths, and I never considered the game too unfair. I highly recommend that you stick to a single class during your first runs and use as many cards as possible to learn what they do and how you can combine them. You also want to make sure that you understand what each enemy does. To do so, you can mouse over them to get relevant combat information. Spend some time doing this. If difficulty is a concern to you, the game also features something called Easy Mode, which is essentially a story mode where battles are easier, providing a more relaxed experience. This allows more casual players to enjoy the story and narration of the game without having to worry about its difficulty. Your progress is shared between the normal and easy mode, so you can also use this to farm resources if you want, making your grinding experience easier. As you complete your runs, you'll also be able to increase the difficulty level of normal runs. Each difficulty level will change the behavior of enemies, change the compositions of their packs, as well as increasing their damage and health. You are free to adjust the difficulty level at the start of each run, allowing you to experience the game however you like. One of the things I enjoy most about Tainted Grail is the difficult mechanics. This is because you can really feel how your playstyle improves with each run, and just when you think that you've mastered a class and go for that next level of difficulty, you get absolutely smashed and you have to start thinking of new ways to overcome your enemies, providing you with a constant feeling of self-improvement. If you like challenging games, you should like Tainted Grail. If you're a fan of turn-based games, like to play card games sometimes, and dabble a little bit in roguelikes every now and again, then you might want to check out Tainted Grail Conquest on Steam. It comes out today and costs $19.99 USD. If you do decide to pick it up, please use the link below to support the channel.